A couple of little things have happened since this video's original inception, and quite frankly, I can't change too much that I wanted to do because what has happened. Yet, I still wanted to give something that really gave a deep dive about a topic that not many people still have in their brains, and it's actually quite fascinating if you paid attention. And quite frankly, in recent news with the Monster X I Am not renewing his contract, I think it kind of just points to another aspect of this same video. I posted that if you wonder what are the patterns that I see, check out this video. And boy oh boy, you may want to stick around because if my hunch is correct and I Am is doing what I think he's doing, reminiscent of Lay and Jackson Wang and even Ravi from VIX, I think you have a very interesting video on your hands. So let's jump into the video as I originally recorded it. So after months of contemplating this video, I had to process and realize that a pattern for K-pop fans watching is likely you will see a string of people that I realize that are group leaders that are in this video. A lot of famous heavy hitters are here, and frankly, you'll see a pattern of their positions and public image. And I realized that when we speak about label mistreatment so often, we don't talk about the ones that leave and do their own thing. Oftentimes I hear insert auto name should leave this label and they'll be better. Well, let's talk about those that have and have done well afterward and have effortlessly become great CEOs and artists. Also, I found that the year 2019 was very, very interesting for some of the creme de la creme of the K-pop music industry because suddenly most of them got a hint that being freelance and independent would make them better in the long run. And today I want to talk about the K-pop musicians that are great without a label that guides their every move. So in that, I want to give you a basis of the definition, what I call the J-Park effect. It has a clear pathway through all of the artists I'm going to mention to you. The J-Park effect is when a K-pop artist among the modern K-pop company pipeline that debuts with a group but at some point leaves the company they debuted from to start their own and become a sustainable solo artist slash mogul, give or take starting upwards of 2 labels to house other recording artists. This will begin to be very helpful when you see the first artist in the roster. Leaving KQ Entertainment, Zico on January 2019 announced his independent label KOZ Entertainment. 8 months later after this announcement, launched his own debut studio album, Thinking, under his new label, which was originally split into 2 parts. Honestly, Zico for some time to me was known as one of the most influential and lauded artists of his generation. And I say this because once I was able to deep dive into his debut album, which came off his independent label, it started to become clear why despite his controversies, he's considered to be an icon, and more so you can hear how cultivating his skills among the group Block B served him well in creating zany pop music and then hip hop music that would storm off into becoming a cultural phenomenon in Korea, with 2011 through 2017 being the height of Block B's career with their strong rap sections. Block B gave him the necessary exposure to become a star. And while Block B was successful, unfortunately Stardom Entertainment 2 years after their debut was sued for lack of payment and theft on behalf of their CEO, which will lead to anyone being apprehensive of having another label. However, 7 seasons who seemingly pushed them forward would rectify that, and I still think that's still plenty of reason to not trust any companies. But aside from Block B, he was an underground rapper, and those experiences bled into his intonations and choice of phrasing. Every single phrase on his debut album is more intentional and unfiltered than ever. His lyrics of introspection, love loss, and self-awareness give him the pretty much definition of a great debut album with color, in that it shows the project is far from having a group of label execs saying what is and what isn't good here. It's also intriguing how he leaned on a very small team and himself to produce the album, and specifically longtime Block B producer Pop Time, who helped bring out the best in Zico on this album. It makes it a bit more impressionable. And since then, his own record label, he's had a monster smash like Any Song, which became one of the biggest songs in Korea the past 5 years, collecting many Song of the Year nominations across the many award shows. This is unprecedented because aside from him, not many K-pop stars who deviate from a company make a strong commercial impression. So to say the least, Zico was certainly making artistic and commercial stride even higher than expected. And so yes, he helped prove the independence is a blessing in K-pop, not a career ender. A K-pop legend with a legacy all too extensive as a soloist to not mention as the leader of one of the best-selling girl groups of all time to anyone. Yet YG Entertainment is a company that has a controversy of control among its female artists. Dare I say, misogyny. After departing from major label YG Entertainment in November 2019, CL literally dropped her first ever EP/mini album, In the Name of Love, less than a month after the news was announced she was not renewing. If that's not a middle finger to label politics, I don't even know what to tell you. She's released accompanying creative directed visuals for each song, further cementing her independence. The EP was very clear in being a versatile collective, yet you can tell it houses almost every trending shade of pop music the previous 5 years, which shows just how stifled she truly was. Nevertheless, in between, CL spent time learning what exactly does an independent label CEO of her own imprint do. Well, she mentions the finer details of not just an album producer choices, but car services, PR, publishing, etc. Finally, 2 years later, in October 2021, we got her debut album Alpha under her own label, Very Cherry. The album is frankly not a triumphant magnum opus. I mean, how could you in one shot? However, it's a statement piece from an icon who's finally found what K-pop hasn't perfected: the seamless English-Korean transitions in raps and singing verses across a multitude of shades of hip-hop, pop, and R&B in one 11-track piece. To say the least, commercially, CL hasn't seen the heights since her YG days so far. However, there have been highs that outpeak some of those, like the main Coachella stage, the US TV show appearances, and international ad campaigns unmistakably unparalleled. You can't make this up how well a visionary like herself has come to launching some of the best work of her career visually and artistically. And we can go on and on about missing videos, missing collaborations, and altogether missing music, but that's a topic for another day. Another YG Entertainment loss with a tragic career halt, B.I. B.I was the leader of one of the company's most successful boy groups, iKON. Now, aside from B.I helping to pen literally some of the most revered and successful hit songs of iKON's career, his unfortunate mix-up in a scandal or conspiracy, if you will, led to his departure from YG Entertainment in June 2019 and leaving his public image in shambles. However, during this time, he has been appointed an executive director at an entertainment company, where he then launched 131 Labels as his own management music label. From there, B.I has thrived as far as the optics are concerned. He's been releasing consistently praised music releases since his departure and finding more international footing. All of his releases, both domestic and internationally, have had solid holds and success, even down to consistent critical applause. His releases such as the Midnight Blue Love Streaming triple-sided single album, Waterfall album, the Cosmos EP released over the span of March 2021 to November 2021, they all show the compelling range of genres and themes of finding one's own path, self-confidence, and sometimes love. B.I has truly shined in some of the most creative music videos, and his recent single and music video, B2B, featuring Davicha and Soulja Boy, shows off his fluid singing, poisonous rap flow, and dance skills. All of which, if you watched Flame from the Cosmos EP, you would already know that. Hashtag StanBI, aka BNID. Anyway. Still considered to be one of the most notable all-arounders / aces in the business, Hyolin has been known for being a solo artist since 2013 and has been known for leading the four-piece girl group Sistar with a string of chart-topping singles. Unfortunately, Sistar disbanded in 2017 in the wake of many other famous girl group disbandments and hiatuses. If anything can be said about Hyolin's career both pre and post-label departure from Starship Entertainment, she has been a consistent competitor on countless TV competition shows. Her vocal and dance prowess has been showcased a plethora of times over the years, and thus when in January 2018, she decided to have a solo independent label called Bridge, which she formed for her activities as an artist, it was no secret her debut track as a soloist, Dolly, from that label, and its music video would thrust her into the international domain, alongside some pretty awkward controversy at the KBS Drama Awards in December 2018. Yet, the TV soundtracks, variety show appearances continued, and so did the award nominations over the years. As of late, she's been on a hot streak for her win on the duo competition show Double Trouble this year, and the hit TV girl group franchise Queendom, in which this year she gained exposure. Now, in regards to trying to strongly cement R&B tinges in her music as a pop singer, what I can say about her is that Hyolin as an artist, subjectively, she's found her niche as a dance, pop, and R&B artist. She does have solid material like the smooth summer vibe of CC and R&B pop summer simmer of Laying Low that she released from her album Ice. That showcased why she's so beloved. Now, I won't lie and say I've been a fan of Hyolin's material. She definitely has had strong moments. However, I do believe she's lacked a cohesive vertebrae and has had a mini playlist of singles versus actual mini album. Thus, her recent comeback Ice has at least felt like a random pop playlist, but her title track No Thanks is quite good and is sitting at an astonishing 5.7 million views in only 10 days as a solo independent artist. The truth is, Hyolin, the artist, is still trying to find herself overall in terms of where she can thrive in her niche, while the brand itself, Hyolin, has had an astonishing resurgence. Jackson Wang is the most interesting here because his solo lockdown predates his original label departure. He was already a CEO of his own while under another label as a group member, which is pretty unique among any listed here and frankly gives him a rare insight as an artist. Jackson Wang, of course, made his debut in the JYP Entertainment spawn group GOT7 in 2014, where the group notably shifted from bubblegum pop tunes. The group made a special name for themselves for hit after hit overall albums on the charts and becoming one of the faces of the K-pop industry from 2014 to 2018. Among that time of June 2017, JYP Entertainment announced Jackson had his own management team for activities and releases in China and abroad. It was here that Jackson started to cultivate his mogul/artist status while holding down a major boy group in the process. The first single released under the new Team Wang Records label, Papillon, was released to moderate success, with me personally believing that it did show off Jackson's more snappy rap, but it did not show off his best attributes. And following that, the leading to his debut album Mirrors in 2019, he showed his title track Bullet to the Heart, which was met with success as the critics for the overall album stated that Jackson was an artist to watch for his artistic ambition, and said album won awards in China and landed on the overall album chart in the US at number 32. Ultimately, as Jackson grew his brand, GOT7 was seeing a commercial decline and neglect from JYP, filled with weak promotion and appearances. Thus, the group left the company collectively in January 2021 and went on to produce and launch their own comeback and brand in May 2022 through another label. All while Jackson began to boost this brand to new heights despite his own mental health battle. After releasing his second studio album, Lost and Found, in March of 2022, he also released his new single Blow in March 2022 at the end for a Magic Man, which since then has begun to soar his career to new heights publicly, performing at the biggest music festival in the US, Coachella, appearing in a slew of shows both on primetime TV and a web series, and recently performed at a highly televised soccer match with 70,000 spectators. Honestly, from a public perspective, he's doing better than ever. With this newfound artistic leaning to rock and roll with Blow and Cruel, the creative direction and ambition in his team with these music videos, and finding a better home for his husky voice and performance style, he has become one of the brightest solo stars out of China and K-pop, and his new Magic Man album breeds a new anticipation that I will be checking out. Now let's talk about the J Park effect in detail plus Robbie from VIX, because we need to understand that when I call it the J Park effect, I mean that because these are people like Robbie and J Park who were the first two to aggressively play the game behind the scenes. They were artists who came from a group that was able to add more than just their own brand as self-serving artists, but they were able to make other artists come under their umbrella and push them forward. And I want to add Zico into this due to him being one of those same artists as Robbie, but I'm pushing him out because there's an expansiveness to it while having an autonomous business. Robbie and J Park both have more experience with having two major labels and being their own big name solo managing artists. That gives them credibility. And love it or hate it, when it comes to all this, it comes back to J Park, which In recent conversation with some K-pop mutuals, they called him the man that plays chess, not checkers. If you've been in K-pop, the story of Jay Park is not really new, but let's just say that Jay Park has a history of his own that is very critical to naming this effect, as Jay Park was one of the members and the leader of the iconic popular boy group of their generation from JYP Entertainment, 2PM. Then suddenly, the mass reveal of anti-Korean sentiments before his debut, criticizing the social climate of South Korea and the pop industry, led to his contract termination and brief self-exile back to the US. And eventually, after a full rebrand as a K-hip-hop and R&B artist and a number of solo releases, in 2013 he became the CEO of AOMG, where he has some of his lesser known peers be a part of his own label, and in this, housing a number of them such as Gray and Loco made him a very well-known hip-hop and R&B label, as well as a relatively well-known hip-hop and R&B artist. And eventually, while expanding his reach into the music world, he released a slew of major and moderate successful collaborations, running into the opportunity to found and co-lead a second label in 2017 called Hyolin Music. And it's safe to say I call this Jay Park effect because he's the first Korean soloist to come from a group and not only make a name for himself in the industry and as a fixture, but brings others into the fold and add to their value and portfolio. Jay Park himself is one of the very few acts overall in all of South Korea to have Musician of the Year award 3 times from the Korean Music Awards, which is the Recording Academy / Grammys equivalent to South Korea. He's influential to the point of, dare I say, being faintly reminiscent of his inspiration, Jay-Z, who he's signed to. Being someone that has self-made credibility on a wide scale of his own brand makes him very big, and the same can be said for Ravi, who also, while being a rapper in the most conceptually influential boy group in K-pop, VIX, learned to stand on his own 2 feet in 2019 when he did not renew his contract with Jellyfish Entertainment, and then pursued his own niche sound of hip-hop / pop rock to become a success, while in the process overtaking G-Dragon in the most song credits of all Korean pop musicians, creating 2 major labels along the way. I say all this to explain that there is a lack of understanding among fans how most K-pop groups and soloists under powerful companies thrive, but not all of them showcase the best of their creative ability or are hindered by their output. Just because you're backed by an SM, a JYP, a YG, or a Hype or a Cube doesn't mean you're receiving your money's worth of quality music, which I know is very subjective. Yet, factually, in terms of what your favorite K-idol or group releases, when you complain that there is something bad, you're used to blaming the agency, which is what you hear about on Discord, Twitter, and Instagram and Reddit. Can you imagine being a group member or members taking advice to leave and then suddenly interest in your group dies down or is lack of promotion? Given that most fandoms don't know how to collectively talk about quality music, it stands to reason having this conversation is unlikely, and the aforementioned artists were all among this collective that became mainstays in their companies before leaving, or even helped launch these companies into the next level, and notably were memorable and main faces of their groups. Yet, when things didn't go well for them, they didn't stop but left to make the best of their music and create their own legacies outside of those label shadows, which is extremely difficult and hard to do, and some of them are still finding their way. But if anything is certain, it's that since their label departure, they've remained or have grown to be great. If you like this video, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe for more future content. I love doing these videos and I will continue to push out more. Please recommend me what you think I should talk about next, and I will see you guys in the next video.